G'day guys and welcome to the Centre Bounce, where we wish Velo a happy 50th birthday. Happy birthday, Velo, mate. All the best. Happy returns. Hope you had a wonderful day today. Now on to our regular broadcasting, where I go over my first official team reveal for 2025. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. It's the time has finally come. You guys have been asking me for it all this time. I promise I haven't been trying to play hard to get. Just been very busy, very, very busy. I've hardly had any time to look at Supercoach and be keeping track of the news during this preseason. Been busy with family over from the States, but we're ready to go. This is our first crack. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get into it. So this is in the team picker. Of course, you need to have Supercoach Gold in order to have access to this tool. Otherwise, hey, you can watch enough of our videos, watch the streams and get the prices. Even if you have some sort of subscription to the Herald Sun, you can see the prices and maybe do it on an Excel spreadsheet. But doesn't quite match this sort of experience. So start with the backline as is usual. Going to go with the Shees. I felt very dumb not starting the Shees last year. The guy's an absolute jet. I mean, seriously, what more do we have to say about Harry Sheasel? Good buy as well. Not an early buy, which means that we can get lots of games out of him. Second person, I'm going with Jack Sinclair. I would love to have someone like a Lockie Whitfield. I know he's got an incredible run. Still early days, still early January, and can find ways to get him in, but early buy and tight for cash. We're going with Jack Sinclair. Great way to end the season. Had a great Marvel run. We were sort of forecasting it all the way through. Last year that Jack Sinclair was going to be a terrific target to upgrade to when he got that Marvel Stadium run, and he absolutely popped off. Looking at his fixture, he does have quite a few games at the start of the season at Marvel Stadium, and you just know what his role is. His best role is behind the ball, accumulates at will, a lot of knock-ons, which also count as contested possessions, and that is also why one Marcus Bontempelli gets so many points. People think there is a special Marcus Bontempelli love child button at Champion Data, but he earns it, okay? He earns it, and I love watching play. So Sinclair, love watching this guy in action. Someone who I also really enjoyed seeing really rise to the rankings last year was Jordan Clark. Again, he's got the great buy that he shares with St Kilda this year, and part of the reason why we wanted to get him in is because of that buy, but also because he just seems to be really consistent, I think, when it comes to his output coming out of the back line, because what he does isn't like Luke Ryan, who is very much a seagull in the purest sense and really doesn't offer much else when it comes to the play. We'll chip it short there, and then we'll just kick it long. Clark is different. Clark actually gets involved, pushes up a bit more, offers some run, offers some speed. And I think this year we want to see more speed coming from Freo. I think they're doing all they can in this offseason to really try and, I suppose, beat out all those old habits of the small, methodic ball movement. I think they really want to go a bit faster. Shea Bolton's now in the side. Also can add some speed on the ball. They don't want to give opposition plenty of time to set up because their forward line isn't necessarily stacked to the brim with contested, pack crashing targets. They've got a lot of great players, and I think if they could just add a bit more speed on the ball, it opens up the game for them. And they've got, releases the runners, some great runners in the midfield as well. So I think Jordan Clark will only continue to improve on this average and maybe push it up to the 110, I think, this year. So those are the three genuine premiums in the back line for me. We then go down to one Callum Mills. I actually owned this guy a couple of years ago, and it was so good. It was so exciting watching this guy. It was a couple of years or 3 years ago now. Geez, 3 years it will be now. Time flies when you're having fun. Him going 200 was absolutely glorious against the Hawks. He is capable of so much more than what the horse has relegated him to do in recent times. Of course, his injury didn't help, but we've now got Big Cox, who's got the head job over there at the Swans. And from all reports, he is looking unreal, as fit as ever, and putting on size, which to me can only mean really that they're earmarking him for midfield time. And midfield time Mills is over 100 average. And that is glorious. Could end up being a keeper for us all year long. Now, a lot of people at this point have gone with Kitty Coleman. I haven't at this point, only because the season doesn't start tomorrow. We have a bit more time to keep tracking his development and his recovery through this preseason. I know we are hearing good things out from the Brisbane Lions, but still, for me, he is someone who has had quite a few injuries in the past. It's not like this is his first injury. He has a history of being injury prone, and it's an ACL, so a minor one, and he did it in round 1 of last year. So if he comes back at the start of the season, it'd be almost bang on 1 year. And I know for me, I do feel like I feel a bit more confident and comfortable in selecting someone who has sort of really left that injury behind, and there's a bit of a question mark over his head. So plus he's got the early buy. I've already got Mills in there who has an early buy. I don't want to stack up on early buy players. So I'm going to go with my boy Saad El Hawle, who is very exciting. We love this guy over there at the Bombers. He is the new Saad for us, literally and figuratively, except he kicks with the right foot. Very exciting, very dynamic. Yeah, sure, man. He's playing round 1, don't you? Or round 0 even. Bet your bottom dollar on that. Also got Buslinger, someone who I think certainly, again, not his first rodeo, not his first preseason. Also, by reports, training the house down and will be one to feature early in the season. And so these are two players who are not your, 18-year-olds. They've got a bit more age to them. Their bodies are a bit more filled out, which means that they're more ready to hit the ground running. And for them to get these two at 119.9 is so good. And I don't want to waste their points on the bench. Got with, of course, Caleb Smith, some reports that he is going to be featuring in the backline, half-back in particular. And we all I think that it's safe to say that we all anticipate that Richmond aren't going to be that great this year, which you would imagine would mean that the ball is living in their backline quite a bit. More supply for Caleb Smith. So I'm picking Caleb Smith in the backline, as well as from the Swans, Bice, Riley Bice, hearing some really good things about this guy as well. Coming out of the backline, does he get the gig? Does he not? We will see in time. At this point, we're just filling a team with who we think are some really talented players that we don't mind having in our teams based on what we've heard and what we know from their draft profiles. Going to the midfield, really tossed and turned with who my first selection is going to be. Marcus Bontempelli, man. He's the Bont is Bont. If you've been around, you know that. Bont is Bont. And he is very expensive. $681,000 is a lot of money. But I don't regret picking him because Bont is Bont. And love watching this guy play. Love watching his points just magically go up over the course of the game. And he doesn't need to do too much to really eke out full value for what he does. He is genuinely a captaincy option week in and week out, and that you can pretty comfortably rely on and just close your eyes and say, let's go, take me home, without any early buys as well. Really considered having Nick Dacos potentially be that guy for me, but he does have the early buy, unlike Marcus Bontempelli. So, yeah, there's 50 grand there, but we'll see with the rest of the team whether or not I need that extra 50 grand. We're going to go with his right-hand man. Yes, we've paid up for the two top dogs in the midfield. You can say, is this a noob move? You just see big splash the cash, as our good friend the Scottfather would say. Splash the cash, just come her down. No, that's not necessarily what we're doing. We are going for the best of the best, trying to lock in the top scorers, who I don't think will be dropping in price too much over the course of the season. They both go about it in incredible ways with both inside and outside capabilities. Both of them really, really difficult to tag, and they both have good buys as well. Butters having the not quite the best buy, but they both have really good buys. So for me, I love watching both of these guys play. They're both really in the upper echelon of the competition, but probably the best in the competition. So really keen to watch these guys play. And now is when we start to go for a bit more value. I think Christian Petrarca definitely poses a lot of value. 103 is what he's priced at, and we know that Petrarca can go 115 without too many issues. Some question marks over his body, but he is looking absolutely ripped. He's got abs on abs. And I could cut him in half and he'd still be stronger than me. Going for his partner in crime in Clayton Oliver. Some people have him at this position, but by us paying up top dollar, we don't have him at M5. Got him at M4. Again, poses seriously. This is almost criminal. Almost criminal. So yeah, he's in there. Going with a mid-pricer in Peatling at this point. Peatling moved across from the Giants to the Crom, and he is going to feature there. There's been some changes in the midfield over there at Adelaide, and I think James Peatling is going to fill a really big portion of that time there. So I can see him having north of 50% CBAs for the Crows, and that would have him, based on his scoring that I've seen last year, would have him north of 100 average. He can really push 100 points a game with plus. He really could be someone that we hold on to all year and has the later buy as well. So for 352, price at 65.5, even if he goes 95, being conservative in my opinion, that's still tremendous value there. So Peatling in the side. We now go to some of the rookies. We get Jagger, good friend Shaq, saying that he's been at the training for Carlton and he's training off half back. Mates, we'd love to see that. So Draper in the side as well for now. Best talent to come out of South Australia in this year's draft. When fully fit and healthy, should absolutely feature in the Crows side. At the moment, from what I've heard, he is not in full training, but it's still early Jan, and I'm just going to put him there for now. If he has to be removed, it's easy to remove someone that is more expensive than trying to find the cash to go up. So we've got Draper in there. I've also got Lindsay. Seems earmarked to be playing some half back for the Demons. And I think it is pretty warranted considering that they've got Rivers now playing more on the ball. Lindsay, dynamic, creative ball user, can be really good coming off half back. On the bench, we've got his good mate, Harvey Langford. We're also going to go with Bo Allen for some DPP connection with the backline. And for our DPP connection with the forward line, we are going with Erasmus. Not his first rodeo. We all know it. We've seen him play before, but he is very cheap, and his performances in the back half of the season in the seconds were really promising. I think, and from what I've heard from some Freo supporters, is that they reckon he's back in the side. The way that he played towards the back half of the season, he's earned his way back in, and he shouldn't be the sub, hopefully, moving forward. So Erasmus will be our connection with the forward line. We then get to the ruck. Tristan Cherry. I wanted to start you last year, but Big J told me not to. It was wrong, and I'm going to start you this year. Absolute gun. Reckon he will dethrone big Maxi. Maxi Gorn was bailed out quite a few times last year. He'd be on a really crap score, and all of a sudden we'll take a junk time mark and kick a junk time goal to salvage his score. So Tristan Sherry all the way. And you guys would know all about it. I'm big on this guy. Big Sean Darcy, the Shrek. Get out of his swamp. He doesn't look Shreky. He doesn't look swampy. He is looking trim and fine. And you might be thinking that is bizarre to hear about Sean Darcy. But this could really be what the doctor ordered for him. Less weight on those joints. An ability to maybe play out more games. Scoring isn't an issue for him. His problem has been his body letting him down. Maybe he can get to more contests this way, be a bit more nimble, be able to play more games. He's got the best buy, sharing it with the Saints. I don't think Luke Jackson is necessarily going to be a really big detriment to him. As long as he's fit and healthy, he is a better ruck than Luke Jackson, who can therefore play more in the forward line. And if Sean Darcy has to rest forward at some stage, he has got some forward crafts, take a mark, kick a goal. So I love Sean Darcy. His start to the season is also really favorable. He's got a ripper run in the first month of the season. And part of the reason why I've contemplated not starting with Bontempelli is because of how good of a run Sean Darcy has. But then I thought to myself, geez, man, relying on Sean Darcy to be your captain for the first month of football can be a little bit nerve-wracking. So I got my saviour, Bontempelli, back in the side. And then in the ruck line, I've actually gone, this is just a placeholder whilst we wait for the St Kilda player to come in. He will be basement price. So I will just put myself on a pike on the bench. We then move to the forward line, and this one is going to be mostly the same as everybody else. We're going to have Horn Francis in there. We're going to have McRae in there. But the money, I don't have the money for Smith. I don't have the money for Baslenka. I don't have the money for him. Plus, he has the early buy. Plus, he is a pretty bad butcher of the football as well. I've got Luke Parker on the side at the moment. Now, you can scoff. I'm sorry if you spat your tea or your coffee or your Pepsi Max on your phone or your computer screen, but Luke Parker, I think, does still present value at $343,500 because he will have time on the ball. He's not going to be playing exclusively as a forward. I know people might say that, you know, he's there to line up the team, straighten up the team, and be a leader in the forward line. But we can't forget they have also recruited Jack Darling. Jack Darling has come from a premiership side. So wouldn't be surprised if they've got Jack Darling in the forward line, trying to talk with the forwards, trying to be, you know, in their ears over there. You've got Caleb Daniel come across from the Bulldogs. He's going to provide some leadership in the back line. And I wouldn't be surprised if Luke Parker is that middle third player who can play almost a striker type role. Yes, he will play some half forward, but I think he will come up to the stoppages. You've got some players that you need to protect. Players like Wardlaw have shown that they are a little bit injury prone as well. So Luke Parker can be someone that can step up in there. And I do think that he does present value still at $343. And like I said, he doesn't have the early buy. Philippou comes in as well. Big fan of Mateus. I actually wanted us to select him over Elijah Sardis at the Bombers, but Dodoro, don't need to say much more, I think. Caleb Daniel, everyone absolutely has to have Caleb Daniel in their side. If you don't, just delete entry before the entry has even come in. And then we've got Elijah Hewitt, a highly talented, very highly rated player over there in the West, has had problems with his body, but hopefully can leave them behind as he has so far this preseason. On the bench, we have got Cleary, very, again, highly rated player over there at the Swans. Loves a hard ball get. And then we've also got someone a little bit cheaper, in the bench here, Aiden Johnson. He is a mature age recruit that I think is ready to go right away for the Melbourne Demons. Of course, the rookies are subject to change. Heck, even the primos are subject to change. But this is where we are at the moment with the limited information that we've got. And in the flex position, we are going to put our good friend Levi Ashcroft as our final player. He didn't get crowned the number 1 draft pick, but I'm going to crown you as our flex because I am really keen to see how he goes about it this year. There are some question marks over the team at the Brisbane Lions. He's almost certainly going to be a best 22 player, but there are some great midfielders already in that Brisbane side. I mean, that midfield is the midfield that tore apart the Swans in the grand final, the reigning premiers, and there's really no real reason to rush him in and throw him into the deep end. He's also pretty good forward of centre as well. Knows where the big sticks are, so he might play a bit more half forward than midfield. We'll probably see more midfield from Will, I think, than from Levi. He's a new draftee. You're not going to just throw him straight into the midfield. Also got some money in the bank, which allows me to do some sort of maneuvering, any different corrections. Of course, this is not the final team. It will certainly be subject to change between now and the start of the season. But I do like the feel of this team because I do have some genuine top caliber players in each of the lines, whilst also not necessarily fielding too many rookies, I think, on the field. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I've got 14 genuine bona fide keeper players. Mills playing in the midfield is keeper caliber as well. And Peatling, if he's getting 55, 60% CBAs, then he will be averaging 100 plus, in my opinion. And that, I think, also makes him keeper as well. So could end up having 16 keepers in this starting side. Of course, this is best case scenario. Am I pinning all my hopes and dreams on that? Not necessarily. If Pitling goes 90, then that's great. Makes me the money to trade him out to get an Uber premium. If he does better than that, then that is bellissimo. So really happy with that. The rookies that I've got on the field, they're not babies, and the ones that are seem to be in great roles for really good teams. So this is what it looks like for now. Let me know, guys, what you think in the comments down below. Ask me about, some obvious omission there, like there's no Kitty and Coleman in the back line. But I just wanted to have some really good rookies on the bench as well. So I just felt like if making your field the best possible, but then having a really crappy bench isn't going to be conducive to success in a long season of football. You really need all of your players to be making money. No loopholes at this stage. I just think that the season as a whole is so long, and we will inevitably get players who are not playing, 1 week suspensions or concussions or arrest. We will certainly have donuts be handed to us on a silver platter during the course of this season. I haven't willingly decided to start one. Pike will not be Pike. Pike will be the St. Kilda player when he is added. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my first team for 2025. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. Questions, suggestions, have at it. And once again, Velo, happy 50th birthday, my friend. Happy returns. May all your dreams come true, and that you one day celebrate your 100th with your friends and family. If you guys have a birthday coming up and you'd like a special personal message of happy birthday on my video, then let me know in the streams or again in the comments below. If your birthday is coming up in that particular week, I'll put it down and I'll give you a shout out, because here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work and the birthday salutations so that you don't have to. Bye for now.